Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lucas Jacobson here with the Jacobson Report. Today on the show, I'm going to be interviewing 3 members of the 12 Angry Men trial. I will be interviewing juror number 3, juror number 8, and the defendant from the trial. Now, first up on the show, I'll be speaking to juror number 3. Come on down.
Nice to meet you. Ooh, man.
Welcome to the show.
It's good.
So, first off, I wanted to ask you, was there anybody that tried to contradict your statement of the defendant being guilty?
Yes, there was. In the end, he was acquitted. At the beginning, it was just juror 8, but he convinced the rest of the jury.
Okay, well, what's the reasons that you decided to decide that the defendant was guilty?
The evidence just clearly pointed towards it. There was an old lady across the street who saw this murder occur through the windows of an L train. And, there was a clear witness. There was an old man downstairs who claims he heard the murder, and all the evidence just pointed towards it.
Well, I'm not trying to pick apart your story here, but the old lady, most old ladies don't have very good sight. So do you think that was that one of the statements that was issued by juror number 8 about?
Yes, that was. That was an argument that he used. He said that the old lady had very thick glasses, which she actually did. But he claimed that she could not see him across the street because she was sleeping and just looked across at a certain time. And there's no way of telling, or he claimed there was no way of telling that she was wearing the glasses at that time.
So do you think there's any actual possibility that he's not guilty, or are you for sure?
I believe he was guilty. I was forced into believing that he was not guilty. I believe that boy is guilty.
All right, then. Well, thanks for coming on the show today and talking to me about the case.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, up next, we will be speaking to juror number 8. He was contradicting the statement that juror number 3 made. So we'll hear his side of the story next.
Mike Ratchford here with another special TV offer with the new book, 12 Angry Men, brought to you by Amazon.com/co.uk. 12 Angry Men, $12.99, Target, Walmart, everywhere you pick up your books. Do you want to see if the boy is actually guilty or not? Well, pick up the book because that's what you need to do. Only $12.99, $12.99. Buy the book today. Oh, it's coming for you. You want the book. $12.99, Walmart, Amazon. Thank you. Order within the next 3 seconds to get a free cat. But you're too late. Buy the book anyway. $12.99, Target, Walmart, Amazon. Pick up the book.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from our commercial break. We will now be speaking to juror number 8 of the 12 Angry Men trial. Come on down.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Jacobson. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
Thank you very much. Much obliged.
All right, so I'm not trying to pick apart your statement or anything, but I do have a couple questions for
Right
you.
into it, okay?
So what really convinced you to stay true to your point of him not being guilty?
Well, he was accused of murder, and the penalty for murder is death. And I cannot send a boy off to die that easily. And I had reasonable doubt in my mind. I did not know either way. Is he guilty? Is he not?
So basically you just went with what you kind of thought. You weren't 100% sure with what you were thinking.
I wasn't 100% sure, but I did have doubts of some of the evidence, and I just wasn't 100% sure either way, and I definitely needed to talk about it, unlike the other jurors who really just wanted to get the trial over with and voted guilty straight away.
So do you think there was a possibility that he was actually guilty?
There could have been a possibility that he was, to be honest. But beyond a reasonable doubt, he is not guilty.
So I know you said that it just doesn't feel right sending a kid to death you're not even 100% sure that he killed someone. But what if you were just letting a murderer back out on the streets? How would you think about that?
Well, I mean, it's a possibility, but that's how our legal system works. But I don't know.
So you obviously have a lot of courage standing for your point because it was 11-1.
Thank you.
You had everyone as it was against you, basically.
That is true. At one point,
it was one versus all.
Mm-hmm.
But you stood to your point. So do you have any more evidence that made you think so, that he was not guilty, that made you stand?
Yeah, there are multiple points of evidence that I did use to convince some of the other jurors to vote not guilty. One of the most, I guess, specific ones that convinced many people that he was guilty was there was an old lady across the street who claimed to see the murder through the L tracks, which, with her testimony, I found, or when we examined it, we thought if she was if she just woke up and turned over and saw it through a passing L train, which, I mean, you can see through it, but
Yeah.
how likely is that sound to you? And she had marks on her nose, which clearly showed that she had glasses, and she was an older lady, too. So we just think that there was a possibility that what she saw was maybe not as true as she thought. But we don't think there's any way that she could have told that it was the boy stabbing the father.
So,
We think she maybe saw somebody, but it was not the boy.
yeah, it could have been anybody, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So, by the time that the police arrived on the scene, was the boy in sight? Like, was he anywhere near the case?
He was found later.
Oh, so he
By-
wasn't found at all towards
He
the
wasn't
beginning.
found on the scene, no.
So, do you think that, so basically you're saying that all the 11 other jurors made a mistake by not going over the evidence more thoroughly?
Yes, at the beginning, I do believe they made a mistake by not trying to examine the evidence. I believe that many of them just didn't care much about the trial.
They just wanted to get their money.
They
and go.
wanted to get over with it, and there were a few who did have reasonable points, but I do believe there were some that just went with the flow of the trial, or of the vote.
All right. Well, I talked to juror number 3. I talked to you now, juror number 8, and I will be speaking to the defendant next. So thanks for coming on the show today, and
Thank
pleasure
you for having
having
me.
you.
Oh,
Are you scared that the people inside your 4th hour English class will hear you sing like this?
all that glitters is gold
Like this?
inside me.
Well, I've got the solution for you. Hashtag You Can't Sing 11th grade edition. Featuring many great songs such as...
In the town where I was born lived a man who sailed the seas, and he told us of his life in a yellow submarine. I'm on the highway to hell. I'm on the highway to hell.
Such great songs, but who couldn't forget the best?
Baby, 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 always, baby, 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 always, baby, 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 always, thought you'd be mine,
Look at these, you can even do it with your friends.
and I will always love you, will always love you.
Pick up hashtag You Can't Sing 11th grade edition at your local Dollar Tree.
Welcome back to the show. We now have on the set the defendant in the 12 Angry Men trial. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Jacobson. Pleasure to be with you.
I wouldn't say it's a pleasure to be with you. I mean, for all I know, you're a murderer. I'm not 100% sure.
I
You were
am not a
convicted to be not
murderer. I
guilty,
was acquitted from that.
but it was 11-1. The odds were stacked against you,
Yes,
and you pulled
and
it
the
off.
final vote was 12-0 in favor of not guilty.
12-0.
Yes, it was. 12 jurors to 0.
Well, you know, everybody can have their own opinion, and in my personal opinion, I believe you to be guilty.
That's fine, and no one on the jury did.
I believe that the old lady had better vision than you guys are mocking her up to have.
Well, you can take that up with the judge.
And so it was said that during the murder, you were at the movie theaters.
I was.
What movie did you see?
I don't remember. I was a little tired.
Tired from what? Killing your dad?
That is not an appropriate comment. I did not kill my father.
It's my show, not yours. I can make whatever comment I want.
At least I was on the trial.
Say whatever I want.
Yeah, that's fine.
I believe you to be guilty, and I'm going to stand for my
I
opinion.
am not guilty.
I'm standing with the other 11 jurors.
Oh, yeah. Well, I am standing with all 12 of them.
all 12 of them. That's some hot garbage right there.
Well,
You're obviously guilty.
Am
It
I-
all stacks up.
did I
against
get convicted?
You were
Did I get
seen at
convicted?
the scene.
Did I get convicted?
No, you didn't.
No, I did not.
But
Not guilty.
you were spotted near the scene of the crime.
I was at the movie theater.
Actually, technically, you were at the scene of the crime if she was looking at you from across the L
That
tracks.
was not me.
If it wasn't you, who do you believe killed your father?
I don't know. You know, you can show some sympathy. My father was killed.
All right, my bad. I didn't mean to come off as strong as I did. But
Yeah, not cool.
It is possible that you didn't do it. I mean,
Well, I didn't, so.
you can say what you want, but it is still
I'm not
possible
guilty.
you didn't do it. You weren't convicted. So, my bad. I meant to show some sympathy. I forgot all about the fact that you didn't.
I
actually do
appreciate it.
So, what kind of jail time were you looking at? Say,
Oh, I was looking at the death penalty.
The death penalty.
Yeah, I would have been in an electric chair. And
Oh, that's what you
Yeah,
would chose.
yeah,
Over
I would be
firing
dead.
squad
I
over
would not
everything.
be
You would
here,
chose
yeah.
the electric chair.
oh yeah,
That's one of the most painful ways to go out. Why'd you choose that?
I didn't choose it. I don't think I really got much choice in that.
Alrighty, well, I haven't got very much left to say to you. I mean, I really hope you didn't do it, and you're not just a murderer running out on the streets.
Well,
and
I am
say
not
you
a
didn't
murderer.
do it. I really apologize for the death of your father.
Well, I appreciate it. If he was alive, I think he would too.
All right, well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That was our show for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed the show. And just in case you wanted to learn a little bit more about the trial than was said on stage tonight, there is a book released. It's called 12 Angry Men, of course. And this book has been made into many plays because it's actually a pretty good story. So I suggest you check the book out. I'm not exactly sure how much it costs. It's a new book. It just barely came out. But it has most of the exact words that the jurors said during the trial.
Conspiracy Theory Nation, it is your host with the most, Killer Reeves, and we're back at it again with another great story for you today. Recently on the Jacobson Report, Mr. Lucas himself said this very quote.
I really apologize for the death of your father. I really apologize for the death of your father.
And as you heard, he apologizes. And as you know around here, I'm the number one with conspiracy theories. And based on what I heard there, he apologizes for the death. Does that mean he's the one who did it himself, not the child, or some random man? You feel me, nation? Well, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Boom!